Meeting of the Cumberland County Salary Board. So we'll open with the roll call. Members present, please.
Commissioner Eichelberger,
Oh, sorry, still didn't do it. We're good. Is it working? Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay, roll call. Members present, please.
Commissioner Eichelberger,
Present.
Commissioner Foshee,
I'm here.
Commissioner DiFilippo,
Present.
Controller Whitcomb.
Here. All right, very good. At this point, there's public comment for the Salary Board. Any comments regarding the agenda of the Salary Board? Nothing. We'll move on to number 4, the Salary Board actions.
I'll make a motion to approve the salary board actions.
Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we have the minutes of the June 15 meeting.
Make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any additional business to come before the salary board? There are none, so at this point we will adjourn the meeting and we'll move into the Board of Commissioners meeting and open with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So we will open the roll call. Members present, please.
Commissioner Eichelberger,
Present.
Commissioner Foshee,
I'm here.
Commissioner DiFilippo,
Present. Okay, thank you. At this point, the floor is open for any public comment. Any motion to open public comment?
Hi, my name is Mary.
Okay, you need to tell us your full name and where you are from.
Okay, Mary Smith from the borough of Carlisle, downtown, southwest. Just a concerned citizen. I saw some articles about some recent discussions the commissioners have had, and I'm just curious what the county commissioners could do in terms of public transparency for the police department, not just in terms of use of force, but any misconduct, and also what the commissioners are able to do in terms of police, prosecutorial records, and things like that. So just how public the commissioners can work to make Carlisle police.
Okay. Keith, would you like to speak to that? Keith is our solicitor, and he's the legal counsel for the Board of Commissioners.
The commissioners have no authority over any police department in the county. You're probably aware that that's governed by each municipality, unless they don't have a police force, in which event it's the state police. In terms of security and items like that in county facilities, that's handled by the sheriff's office. The sheriff is an independent elected office over which the commissioners really have no control. I don't want to get into the details about 1620 rights. You may have heard some discussion about that. But the commissioners really have very little control, if any control, over the sheriff and the sheriff's deputies and the people in the sheriff's office.
Okay. Thank you.
Well,
Anyone else wish to add anything? Go ahead.
I didn't mean to stop you if you were
That's right.
on that topic.
Nope.
My name is Sarah Marcos. I'm from Newville, that area actually, but I live here in Colorado now. And so, as a follow-up to that, and then I have another question that I'd like to ask. I'm kind of wondering, so I understand your point that the commissioners don't have any authority, it's the sheriff's department. But I was kind of curious, so it's very easy to find who works. Like obviously your information is on the county website. People who work in Skip Ebert's office, their information is available. It's really difficult to find out who works at the sheriff's department or even within CPD. And I do understand that there probably is an element of what you need to protect people's identities with the work that they do. But I was kind of curious about that. Just because there have been instances of a CPD officer being fired over allegations, and then they go work at Mount Holly Springs, which is just down the street, and that just feels a little odd that there aren't any public records. And so I just feel like at a county level, is there anything that you can do to create data that's available to the public like that? I mean, I realize those kind of databases are expensive, but I mean, I can look up a counselor, or a psychiatrist, or a therapist, or a doctor, a barber, and find out a ton of information about them before
Right.
So, yeah.
And I think the state legislature is considering a bill to address just that issue. And why the state is looking at it, in my opinion, is that under state law, information concerning disciplinary procedures, investigations into officers or any employee is not available to the public by law. So it would take a legislative fix to do that, because certain information, any municipality, whether it's the county commissioners or township supervisors, just can't give that information out because it is contrary to law. And it would subject them to legal issues to do that. So the state legislature appears to be addressing that. I don't know how far the bill is, but that would address in part, or if not most, of the concern that you raised about officers going to different locations and taking positions there when they've been disciplined and or fined.
Okay, thank you. And then just another quick, not related question. I'm just curious about, so a few years ago there was a Boy Scout who, for his Eagle Scout project, worked on, there's a newer memorial, I think it was in 2016 it was created, and it's for Medal of Honor recipients. And before I go any further, I don't want this to seem as though I'm not supportive of either our military or that I'm trying to perhaps throw mud on anyone's name. Because my dad's a Vietnam veteran. He's a Silver Star and a Bronze Star recipient. To my knowledge, he's one of the most highest decorated veterans, particularly a Jewish veteran in the county. So also we're Jewish, right? And so there's a memorial to the Medal of Honor recipients. And so some of those Medal of Honor recipients were participating in the Indian war campaigns. And so I find this a little discomforting that there's no more information on the Indian war campaigns, like with that memorial, in terms of, it just kind of feels as though the history of the genocide of Native Americans is kind of washed away with that memorial, where we're, and again, like, not that we shouldn't commend our veterans and support our veterans, but I just feel like, especially in Carlisle, where we were the home of the Carlisle Industrial Indian School, which was a place of horrific events. I just think it's even more so important for us to also have, like, you know, I'm not saying that the memorial should be changed or go away, but it would be nice if there was also an educational piece that was there. And I also was just, you know, curious, I'm not sure, I know it was a separate project, but I just wasn't sure like how much research was put into that memorial, and if there's like more research and like stories that can be told, to kind of just like contextualize that as well, so that we're not just kind of glamorizing or memorializing the genocide itself. We're also kind of talking about that too.
As far as the memorial, the history of the memorial, I'm not sure if there'd be anything in county records. A number of the issues you mentioned could probably be addressed by contacting the Cumberland County Historical Society right down the street here.
I did call them to try to find out more information about the memorial, but they told me that they didn't have any part in the creation of the memorial. And then I tried to call the County Veterans Affairs office, but they weren't able to give me any more information about it either. And then I was just kind of curious too, because I know that's Veterans Square, and I'm sure there is a process for having memorials or information or anything put out there, but I wasn't really sure.
Miss, have you tried the War College?
I didn't call them about the project. I didn't know if they had been involved in it.
They might have some information though on the history of it.
Who was, so this particular monument has a lot of public interest in it right now. But who was John Locke telling us actually has control of the monument right now? Because it's not us.
There is, the upkeep and such is the Carlisle Area Veterans Council. So I know they had a role, at least in some of the restoration activity was done a while back, a few years ago. So that might be worth
sheet, but
If
no.
if you had an email address,
Mhm.
I'll see what I can do to answer your question about that, about the memorial, because I know that we've had a lot of questions about it, and a lot of questions about who actually kind of controls what happens there in the square. And I just remember, you have now piqued my curiosity even more, but I don't believe that we have full authority over that for some reason, but I'm gonna find out and I will let you know.
Thank you so much, I really appreciate that, yeah.
Yeah, I think actually, there were a lot of questions when when the restoration was done, John Locke would know this, the Veterans
Yeah.
Council wanted to have some say on it, and it turned out some of that work was already done by the county. And that just raised the same type of
Yeah.
questions, like, well, who really is responsible? So it would be good to have that clarified. The history of the memorial, I don't know, but I'm surprised the Historical Society would sort of pass the buck, because they keep track of the historical origins of lots of things that aren't under their control necessarily, so.
And it was kind of interesting too, on their website, they didn't have the names. Well, they were able to tell me the names after, like, I called and they called me back, like, the next day. Like, they had information on their names, but they were only pulling that information from, there's a PA State website that
Yes.
has the Medal of Honor recipients, and I think 2 of them had Wikipedia pages, and then of course there's the Medal of Honor, there's like a medalofhonor.org or something along those lines. And you can like look up anyone who's received the Medal of Honor. But it also is like, it's curious because it doesn't necessarily explain why they were awarded the medal either. Some of them it gives like the story, there's like 2, I think, out of the 5 where you can actually find the story of how they were awarded it. But the other page just has like the name, years of service, you know, their class, and then
Miss, another place you might wanna check is the Army Heritage Center.
right.
They have a ton of history over there. There might be someone there they can connect you to. Could address your questions.
Yeah,
Good
actually,
question.
they actually maintain a database that supposedly you can plug in any name of someone who served in the United States Army, or just the Army, and it will retrieve whatever records they have. It's supposed to be fairly comprehensive, but, yeah, that's a very good suggestion.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Does the memorial, I have not looked at it recently, does the memorial, a lot of times they will tell you who put the memorial in, or who paid for it, or something. Is there any marker on there at all that indicates who erected the memorial? Does anyone know?
Pictures of them.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not sure it's on
Alright.
there.
Sometimes I can call for it.
Great.
Well, actually, sorry, I do have another public comment like question, so I do wanna go back and, I'm still a little confused on why the county commissioners can't, like, I understand like the state laws and state legislators and stuff, but I'm confused why the county can't do more than what the state legislators are doing, like why do we need to wait for state legislation to enact some sort of county like transparency or something like that? And also, I get the county isn't in charge of the police departments or the sheriff, but I'm just wondering then in what ways the county could still direct police departments and sheriffs or suggest transparency actions.
But we have no legal authority, so, I mean,
Pardon?
everything we have to stem from legal authority, we have no legal authority, so it's, we really have no role, other than we do have fairly regular liaison with, all first responder, public safety groups, including the Chiefs of Police Association.
Right, so if there's no, like necessarily there might not be any legal authority, but then I'm wondering if you have, since commissioners do have influence, like what you could do as county commissioners to work towards pushing like local authorities for transparency, or just specifically why the county couldn't go through legislation versus like the state. Like I'm very ignorant on some topics because it's hard to research it, and that's like why like transparency, I'm so confused because I don't know how to figure out this information. But I'm just wondering like what the commissioner's role could be.
Well, I don't want to repeat myself. The state is addressing that now
Right.
because this group, the commissioners cannot by law.
Okay.
So that's the legal change necessary for them, well, for them to be able to address the concern that you've raised, and that is the transparency with respect to police officers and discipline and things like that. And I'm just sort of not sure what else I can say.
I'm not, so I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I am having my own come to my own moment about a lot of things, okay? But if I sit here, absent of my fellow commissioners, whatever they wanna do, they wanna do. Let's say the three of us all get together and we're gonna be like, all right, Carlisle Borough Police, we want you to do this. Well, it's great if we do it, but they don't have to. So is that what you're asking for, some kind of symbolic? Because that's all it would be. It would have no teeth in it.
Right.
None. It would just be symbolic, saying, listen, we don't want police brutality. We don't want discrimination. We don't want racism. We don't want all of these things. But as for police departments, there's not, I mean, I hate to say that, because I know it's so, it just makes people mad, right? To hear an elected official go, I feel very powerless, right? I can make a symbolic gesture, but after that, I don't know what to do. I don't know what else to tell you. I wish I had an answer where I could say to you, yes, we have all the control in the world to handle this. But we don't, and I don't enjoy lying to people. I don't want to tell you that that's something that can be done.
Right.
Because, you know, certainly from my position, I would like to see some changes happen, okay? And I think one of the best ways that I can affect change, being that we have no legislative authority, okay, is to be a good leader and to be an example of the change that I'd like to see. And I hate to tell you this, but
Right.
I think that might be the limit.
No, I guess I understand the no authority. So I will say that we've also asked Carlisle Police the same questions. Like I'm not coming to you
No, I know you
guys
have.
as like
I know that
end
you
all
have.
be all. But I guess I'm wondering, like, I get it that it would only be symbolic, but at the same time, if you are at the level of county, you are at the level of at least being an elected official, like I'm wondering why even if symbolic might not enact any change
Well,
in
I
the
have
future,
done
why
those
there really
symbolic
be-
things. Like, I was out here at the rally on Saturday.
Right.
I spoke. I was
Right.
on television.
Right.
And those things are important. People need to see that people that are that are elected officials are like, hey, you know, we can't continue in a society that's like this. And I'll tell you one of the things that really bothered me about the rally was the number of people that came by. There were maybe 30 people there, and they were very sincere in their rallying, and they were very peaceful. But the number of people that drove by and said some of the most hateful things I've ever heard, or who walked by and just said hateful, horrible things. I know that that's why we need to be out in the community saying, I'm against racism, I'm against discrimination. I hear you. I understand what you're saying.
Well, so I guess, what about specifically, like, asking or trying to recommend that police departments do offer better databases, better transparency?
Okay.
Or I guess I'm wondering also, like, in terms of budget, like, what the county commissioners could do for trying to enact budgets for databases for each police chief or department?
I'm sorry to say this.
Yeah, I'm just asking
We're down this
yeah.
rabbit hole that makes people so mad. The county does not fund local police departments.
Right, but
It just doesn't.
what about just, yeah, okay. I guess I'm just wondering, like, I get the symbolic thing, but, symbolism also just like would go past just saying a blanket, yeah, of course, being anti-racist and stuff like that, but like a specific, like, transparency, like suggesting that police departments do transparency or try to create databases, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Okay.
I mean, as the legislative proposal works its way forward,
Right.
we certainly have our statewide association, which will sometimes weigh in on issues, and we certainly have the ability to make an endorsement of any bill that comes forward, but, you know, it doesn't help to have umpteen public spokespersons out there advocating for this, that, and the other thing in an incoherent fashion. So we would be very interested in seeing what comes forward out of the legislature, and I would encourage, if you want to talk to somebody about this, call our legislative delegation and tell them you would like to see these bills passed. And if you have specific suggestions, feel free to offer those, because I'm sure there's not just one variety. There's going to be a lot of debate surrounding those bills in terms of what's, you know, what number one, what's legal, of course, but number two, what interests, other interests of the state, and you do have a lot of different stakeholders in these issues involved. So they're going to be, the legislators are going to be looking to be influenced in any number of different directions. So that would be a very fruitful and productive area for you to channel your enthusiasm and energy over this, because that would really potentially play to what proposal gets voted on and forwarded out of the one house over to the other. So that's where the rubber meets the road, and that's where advocacy on your part and others could make a real difference.
Thank you. I will just say once again, we're not just asking you as county commissioners, thinking that you have the power to do anything. I was asking based on, I've been going around asking like every body of legislators, see who can do what. So I'm just, yeah, but thank you.
That's
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks for
That's
coming
good.
out.
That's how things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just a little aside from that though, I mean, I've been calling Barb Lang's office like every week, her Carlisle office, her Harrisburg office, like it's incredibly difficult to get anyone to respond to anything. You know, I'll ask about specific house bills. I know that's not your fault, but that's just
Do
kind
you
of
know
a
how to look
frustration.
this,
that
do you
we're
know how to
feeling.
look up a House bill and go read it?
Yeah, yeah, so
Okay,
I looked up
alright.
House Bill 1352, which is on this, appointment of a special prosecutor in case the police
Okay.
can't enforce, so that was like one of the main ones that I was most interested in. So yeah, so that's kind of,
I mean, that's what I do. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna tell you right now, I can't get my state legislator to talk to me on the phone. You know, I can't get a hold of her. So, but that's one of the things I do, is I go to that bill site and I look at, and I will read them, and when it comes up for a vote, I watch to see what happens, but in the meantime, please vote, please don't vote, right? Please vote yes, please vote no. That's a really great thing that you can be doing.
Okay, anything else?
okay, one more thing, and I know this is probably something that is not in your jurisdiction either, but I am a little bit curious. So, there's an organization behind the courthouse called the White Circle. And I find this organization to be quite curious because it just has a very racist sounding name, whether or not it is that type of organization. And I had heard tangentially that allegedly you needed to be white to be a member. I have heard again that, you know, women can't be members. It's only, and again, like I know it's a private social club. I get that. It just seems a little interesting that it's like literally right behind this government building, and it's right here in town. And again, this might be another symbolic thing, but I'm just kind of curious in terms of how closely, and I don't know, I mean, it's really right here, like on the town square.
Where is it?
I do believe it's within the Fraternal Order of the Eagles. But it's the White Circle. You can look it up. They have a Facebook page. People have been leaving. I mean, some people think the food's great. Kind of reminds me of people who go to Hooters for the wings. You know, it just seems a little troublesome. And to be honest with you, I haven't gotten a ton of concrete information on it. But the information that does seem to be there.
These social fraternal organizations are established by, in accordance with precepts of state law, so they have to adhere to certain, but they are legal organizations. As far as I know, they're in good standing with the Commonwealth in terms of whatever those compliance standards are. I'm not familiar with them. I've heard the name. I don't know anything about them. They have absolutely nothing to do with county government, other than they happen to be in proximity, I guess, to the county seat, the county government, which is located in the center of the county seat. So, I'm just a little curious as to, I mean, other than the term white, I'm not sure why someone would automatically think that that's a racial. She has a white hat on, and does not have a black mask on. You have a black mask on. Should I infer something from that? So I guess my point is, sometimes we see things that may not be there.
Right.
And I'm not saying there is or isn't truth to what you're saying about the organization. I don't know the organization. I do know they have nothing to do with the county or the county government. And they apparently are in good standing with the Commonwealth law as a fraternal organization, so.
Yeah, I guess more so than just the name, I guess usually where misogyny is, racism is also there, because oppression tends to be interconnected in that way. So it just, like a men's only kind of club with the name White Circle, I don't know, I just feel like, doesn't seem like
Yeah.
that.
I don't know if there's anything we can help you with on
interference.
that, and we do have a
Yeah.
full agenda here, so again, that would be something that if you have any concerns about, you can talk to your state legislator and ask them, or you can check the state's records in regards to the licensure for a fraternal organization. Okay, if there's nothing else, we'll move along. Thank you both for being here today. You're free to stay if you like, you're free to go if you like. So,
You might cut out. Take a lot of your time already.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, here, look.
Here, do me a favor, print out your email,
Yeah, here.
and I'll send you.
Oh, yeah, sure. You need to do this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for your questions and comments and a lot of your time.
Thanks for coming.
Genuinely, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Is it all right if I email you both at the same time?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, we have, any additional public comment? Anyone called in on something? Okay. Then we'll move along to item number 4 then, which is the minutes of June 11 and June 15. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the minutes of June 11 and June 15.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we have the personnel transactions that were reviewed previously. Item 5, I'll entertain a motion there.
Move to approve the personnel transaction.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we have item 6, which is the approval of the Housing and Redevelopment Authority's proposed funding in regards to community development block grant monies. This was reviewed in the workshop last week. We have 2 items here, the annual action plan substantial amendment and the citizens participation plan for the public comment period. I would assume we could take both of those in a single motion. All right, I'll entertain it.
So I'm going to move to approve the Cumberland County Housing and Redevelopment Authority proposed funding plan through the CDBG-CV program for fiscal year 2019, the annual action plan substantial amendment and citizens participation plan to public comment period.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, item 7, we have resolution 2020-18 regarding budget adjustment, also reviewed in the workshop.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2020-18.
I second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carries. Okay. All right, item 8 is the approval of the PCCD grant to Commission on Crime and Delinquency for Pennsylvania. The application for coronavirus emergency supplemental funding. There's action requested on that. I'll entertain a motion.
I'm going to move to approve the PCCD grant application for coronavirus emergency supplemental funding.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any questions? I'm not sure, do we?
This was not discussed in the workshop.
It was not
Rebecca
discussed.
Finke has
It's on the
joined us.
line.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Okay, anyone have questions for Rebecca?
No.
I do not, I read this. I read
Okay.
the questionnaire, I'm good.
No county funds.
Great. Okay, very good. Just wanted to make sure everybody got our opportunity. All right, so it is moved and seconded. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, moving along to item 8, we have the contracts and grants that were discussed at the workshop as well. We have of course, the existing and the new. We can take these together or separate, whatever your wishes are.
I make a motion to approve contracts and grants as documented in item 9, Roman numeral 1 and Roman numeral 2.
Okay, I second that motion.
seconded, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move along to item 10, that's the authorization to advertise for bids on the ramp bridge rehab project that was reviewed at workshop.
I will move to approve the authorization to advertise for bids.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, item 11, we have the Cumberland Plans Grant Application. This is the one for Newburgh Borough that was discussed at the workshop. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Cumberland Plans Grant application for Newburgh Borough.
I second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 12 is the appointment that was discussed also at the workshop in regards to the Recycling and Waste Authority Board. This is to fill the unexpired term vacated by the untimely death of Dale McLean. So we'll be filling out Mr. McLean's term, and it would end December 31 of this year. And as the delegate for the Recycling and Waste Authority, I'll make the motion for the approval of Joel Washup as the replacement candidate.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, item 13 is the capital project request that was reviewed at the workshop. This is in regards to the DRL office request on laptop computers. I'll entertain a motion.
I'm gonna move to approve the capital project request for laptop computers in the amount of $22,016.26.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 14 is the general disbursement transfer authorizations. We have requested to authorize the following: June 10, June 16, the different disbursements, June 19, 2 disbursements, June 24, and June 26. Amounts are listed on the agenda. I won't repeat here. Do we have a motion for approval?
I'll move to approve the general disbursements transfer authorizations. It's noted in item 14, A through G.
I second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, I'd like to report an executive session held by the board on June 25. It was at 10:30 a.m. It was in regards to personnel activities. So, is there any additional business to come before the board? No one has that?
No.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.